stuff, and bald headed with one hair sticking out your bald head like Tweety Bird, you can still pull girls.
Oh man,
you're right.
But you're right, he light skinned.
But you're right, bro. If I went to high school at Wise by the time I was in high school, yeah, I wouldn't have stood a chance.
He didn't make no sense.
He would have been turning down numbers right and left.
Right. I mean, and once again, my best friend, Fletch, he's light skinned. He's damn near see through. So I've known him since back in the day in grammar school. He was best man at my wedding. That's my man.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have a problem with the ladies. I did.
Like I said, I mean, come on. There's a reason why I call you the Puerto Rican. I'll be sure.
It was. Get out of here, man. It wasn't. Rescue me, Doc. Come on, Doc. The Puerto Rican. I'll be sure. You kidding me?
It wasn't difficult finding a date for Friday night. No.
See, there you go. Right. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
I'll bet that. Yes.
See, of course. To you, an honest hoe. Yeah. And all your hoes are honest. So you know what time it was back in the day, man. You know how you got down. So I ain't mad at you. But the rest of us mother hubbards, man, we had to work like dogs.
I ain't mad at you either. Yeah, I ain't mad at you either, bro.
No, but peep this though. When Vic and I became a couple, then the girl started wanting to get with me. Right? It never failed.
That's how it happens. Man. When you get the girl, that's when they all like, oh, he's taking that. He's like, there's something more attractive about him now.
Exactly.
I have never been.
Why she want him,
Chris? I have never been more attractive to women than when I have put on the wedding band. That I have been the most attractive then, for whatever reason. That is the magic elixir for women to throw panties at me. I'm like you had your chance, it's too late. Get them crap
right. Now you want to come after me. Oh my God, man! You have no idea. I mean, you got bad breath, not breath. You got bad breath. You got bad breath with a kickstand. As long as you was light skinned, it didn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
Hey man, I was gonna talk to Valerie. Man, get your stank breath out of my face. I don't want to talk to you, man. Get out of me. Leave me alone,
man. Oh my goodness.
Oh, can't make this stuff up, Doc. I'm telling you, I live it.
No, listen, you can't, man. I ain't gonna lie. I've benefited from my light skinnedness. Yes.
Yes, good for you, Doc. Good for you. As a matter of fact, I suggest on this panel, and one day it was all right with Brian, to have a Puerto Rican I'll Be Sure Day. And in honor of my man Wise all up there, man. Because yeah, man, you got to celebrate that stuff. But that's good. That's good stuff, Doc. Hey, man, no problem. He's my master Effley. No problem. Friday night, yeah, no problem.
And I've actually said this to him. I said I'm saying this to you out of pure love. I ain't saying it out of hate, because I was imagining myself when I was 14, 15, 16. I was like, man, if I knew Wise then, I know, boy, the honeys would be throwing their numbers at him. All you had to do is appear.
Bro, it was the fact that I played. Listen, but the great thing was I played sports, and I was also enjoyed reading, and so it was easy for me. I've always, I guess being smart and athletic kind of paid off as well.
Oh, of course, baseball, right?
Baseball and football.
You did play football. Okay. Yeah. You did play football. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I totally can see that, man. Yeah. Makes you proud that I'm your friend now. Man, I hate to cut this short. But before I do let you go, sir, Mr. Bass, you said last week that you had an important announcement to make. I think it's a wonderful time for you to do it. So what is that announcement, sir?
Well, I'm going to continue to tease, and I want everybody to join me today at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Baseline. I have an announcement to make about the show. Nothing apocalyptic, nothing like that. I'm good. I know people reach out to me. Bass, you all right? Your thyroid okay? No, I'm good. I'm great. And this is going to be a great announcement for everybody involved. I'm bringing on new people at the same time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So please join me. I'm not going to be one of those people. I have a 2-hour show. I'll not make you wait to the end of the show. I don't do things like that. So as I do my pleasantries in the beginning and fending off the hooker whores and being the bronze guy that I have, and when I get through that spiel, I will make the announcement. So today, please, boys and girls, join me today via Facebook Live for me, Chris Bass, and Baseline, the Uncanny Chris Bass at that. I had to give myself a title because I deserve it. The Uncanny Chris Bass today on Baseline, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, with a special announcement. Hope you can join me for that.
I love the fact that this wonderful, legendary gentleman is doing the broadcasting service of not bearing the lead. I totally appreciate you doing that.
Not a problem.
Well, if you want to tune into Baseline, I suggest you do. You want to be entertained, you want to be educated, and you want to actually feel as though you've been seen. This man is the man that will do it. And he joins us every single Friday at the bottom of hour number 2 of this program, and we totally appreciate him. Chris Bass, thank you, sir, once again for the lessons and the laughs.
Well, thank you. Let me be myself again. And again, for those of you real quick, go to facebook.com and type in Chris Bass, CHRIS, B as in broadcasting, ASE. Please go tell 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies that Chris Bass will be in the air.
I always get that number wrong. Okay, so it's 8, not 3. Got it. 5 of your friends and 8 of your enemies.
That's cool, Doc.
Love you, man. And you already know, man. I respect you and admire you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love and respect you guys more. Thank you so much for the love. I love the love. Please join me today. Have a fantastic weekend. Talk to you soon.
You too, sir.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bass.
Excuse me. And tune into the Snowman Multimedia YouTube channel as a special presentation will unfold. Central State will battle Mississippi Valley State in the 25th annual Chicago Football Classic. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. Eastern. Pregame is at 2 p.m. Eastern. And our wonderful resident play caller, Brian Snow, will be the one to call all the action. That's Central State, Mississippi Valley State, in the Chicago Football Classic from Soldier Field, September 2nd. That is not tomorrow. That is next Saturday. 2 p.m. pregame, 4 p.m. kickoff. And since it's Chicago, 1 p.m. Central pregame, 3 p.m. Central kickoff. Any parting words, sir, before we do let the audience go, sir?
Peace out.
All right. Oh. And you might hear this from time to time. I don't know. He says that he might bring it back.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
SNK, painting your house today. SNK, painting your house.
SNK Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities. It's that time again when all we want to talk about is football. High school, college, and pro football. There's one man set to bring it all to you. It's time for Just Football with Matt Emsch. Matt was a first-time AP All-Offensive Lineman with the Ursuline Irish and three-time national champion with Youngstown State. And now, here's Matt.
And welcome to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch. Here we are, week 2 of the return of my show. Again, a little late, I know, but cut me some slack, everybody. It has been an absolutely exciting season so far in high school football in the Tri-County area, especially here on Western Reserve Radio and CityView Sportscast, where Jim Craven and Coach Bob Gessler follow Springfield, the Springfield local Tigers. Mark Means and Dave Clark have different games every week. And then the Matt and Matt show every Friday from doing the Mineral Ridge games. And, this week we each have some good shows going on. Mark Means and Dave Clark have a different matchup than was on the schedule. They are going to be at Bo Ryan Stadium for the big matchup of 2 5-1 teams between the Niles McKinley Red Dragons and the surprise of the season, in my opinion, and local football teams, the Poland Bulldogs. You have the two brothers, Mike Pavlansky, and I think it's Tom. If I'm wrong, I apologize. I don't know which one is younger or older, but, they, Canfield and Poland played. Poland beat Canfield, which, let's be honest, everybody. You have a brother and a brother playing each other. Even though you love each other, you want to beat your brother, especially if your brother won the state championship last year. So that's what he did. And, the Poland Bulldogs have just been extremely good. We're going to talk a lot about them with Mark Means, who's going to be coming on at 6:15. And then at 6:30, we're going to have the Coach Bob Gessler is going to come on, the other half of that Jim Craven, Bob Gessler team. They have the Springfield Tigers every week. And we are going to talk about their matchup this week. And, they have also been somebody who have turned it on. They are 4-2. And they will have this week the Berlin Center Western Reserve Blue Devils, who are also 5-1, like the Poland Bulldogs and the Niles McKinley Red Dragons. They are also playing extremely well. So we're going to talk about that matchup with Coach Bob Gessler, and then to finish it up at 6:45, I'm going to have my partner Matt Lipsack, who, as I said on my Facebook page, and everybody is, I'm sure, that follows local hockey, the Youngstown Phantoms. Matt is the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms. He's been doing it since day one with them, and he does an incredible job. I don't listen to much hockey, but since me and Matt have become partners, I have made a point to listen, and he does an incredible job. I'm not just saying that because he's my partner. He obviously wouldn't have the job for so long if he didn't do a good job. So looking forward to discussing not only the homecoming game between the Mineral Ridge Rams and the Matthews Mustangs on Friday, but we're just going to talk about, high school football in general with all three guys, not just their games. And we're also going to discuss a huge game in NCAA football that I was at last weekend, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Instant classic, went down the last play of the game. We're going to discuss that a little bit, especially with Mark Means. Mark is a huge Ohio State fan. What is interesting about Mark is under his roof is a extremely big Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan and his wife. So we're going to talk a little bit about, that game, about how that went underneath his roof. And, for myself, a lot of people have trouble understanding how I can be this. I am both an Irish and a Buckeye fan. I just grew up, I went to Youngstown Ursuline High School, the Fighting Irish, Catholic school. Obviously, Notre Dame is a Catholic school, Fighting Irish. You see the connection. So ever since I was, a baby, I was reared to be an Irish fan. I was not a Buckeye fan when John Cooper was there. All of you out there, understandably, I'm sure you can agree with me. First of all, you have a non-Ohioan who does not really understand the gravity and the depth of the Ohio State-Michigan game. And obviously he didn't do too well with that. So when my ex-coach, Jim Tressel, took over the job, obviously I immediately switched to a Buckeye fan, and I've been one ever since. I will be honest with you. I was just a touch more Irish over last weekend than I was Buckeye. It was very disappointing, and we had incredible seats. Husband and wife, chiropractor team, and family, as far as I'm concerned. Bobby and Becky all tour in Hudson, Ohio. So anybody needs incredible chiropractors, those two have a practice together. Bobby graduated from Notre Dame. He got his master's there, and ever since he has had season tickets every year. Very good friends of theirs, usually are always, sitting with them, but they couldn't make it. I forget why. We really, my wife and Stacy and I really didn't care. And we always, when they throw them up at us first, we 99.999% of the time accept. In fact, I don't think I've ever, so I'm going to say 100% have never turned them down. So I want to thank them for having us there. We had absolutely incredible seats, but where our seats were at the end of the game, both teams were at the opposite end of the field, and I could not get a good look at the number of players on the field. And anybody that's paid attention to what occurred in that game at the end, specifically the last two plays, the most important plays of the game, they only had 10 players. I've read the excuses. I've read the different articles. I'm sorry. That is so beyond unacceptable. In my opinion, that's a fireable offense. I don't know what went down exactly. There's tons of excuses. And again, I've heard the coach's excuse, but I'm sure we can all basically agree that, there could be some making up of what really went down. What it was they dropped the ball, no pun intended. And, how do you, in a game like that, have that type of situation? And congratulations to the Buckeyes. They eked out a win, but I'm going to be honest with you all, the way that the Irish were playing, especially at the end of the game with their defense, if they had all 11 players in, I really think that game would have ended up the opposite. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are yelling right now saying bull, all of that. But if you watch the game, guys, the Irish were playing lights out defense, and then they take a player out of the mix. You have 11 versus 10. That's why they lost. So we'll discuss that a little more with all three gentlemen. it would have been really cool to see the entire stadium basically, empty onto the field. But I'm going to say, it was just absolutely incredible. Not only the game, again, an instant classic. It was just the feast of the eyes and the senses was just absolutely awe-inspiring. And, I sent quite a few, posts out during the game. And, I just wanted to give everybody a little bit of a sense of what I was witnessing, my wife, Stacy, and I, and it was just incredible. And, I would love to see those two play again in the national championship. Obviously, that's where I want both of them to make it. If not, then a bowl. We would love to see them both play again, I'm sure. I'm not sure the Buckeye fans would want to see that. It's really hard to beat a team twice in the same season. But, I just would like to see that happen. And obviously, I would like to see that happen in the national championship. So, again, I'm going to stop talking about that game. We're getting really close to taking a break here in about a minute. But, we have some, excuse me, some really good professional football games. The Steelers won a big game last week. And I also believe that the Cleveland Browns also won their game last week. And, they took care of the Titans. 27-3. So that was a very impressive show on their hands. Steelers are in the lead as of right now with the AFC North. We'll see if they can hold on to it. But, like I said before, we are getting ready to go to a break. When we come back, Mark Means of By All Means will be waiting for us. See you soon.
With over 30 years of experience, Madurix Butcher Block in Mineral Ridge is a quality-driven company focused on great personal service. Our fresh meats are of the finest cut. We make a variety of burgers, sausages, and a full line of deli meats. Using our own smokehouse, we prepare different types of jerky, snack sticks, kibasi, bacon, hot dogs, and bone-in hams. When your tummy needs some relief, call 652-BEEF. That's 330-652-2333.
Action Physical Therapy is a locally owned outpatient physical therapy company serving the Mahoning Valley for over 20 years. With 5 convenient locations in Hubbard, Cortland, Kinsman, Salem, and Mineral Ridge. Action Physical Therapy can handle all of your physical therapy needs. Action Physical Therapy will create a unique plan made specifically for you. Call us at 1-8333-BEST-PT to schedule your evaluation today. Check us out at myactionpt.com. Get back in action with Action Physical Therapy, and as always, go Rams.
If you are seeking a skilled photographer in Northeast Ohio with experience in capturing documentary-style photographs for various occasions such as family events, weddings, graduations, sporting events, and other special occasions, look no further than Colleen Moore Photography. Accessible via ColleenMoorePhotography.com, or she can be reached at 330-314-7547. Colleen sends her best wishes to the Mineral Ridge Rams for a fantastic season. Go Rams!
From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to CityView Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch, and We have a guest on the phone. I believe Mark Means, host of By All Means on Western Reserve Radio, is on the phone with us. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good, Matt. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for being here. And as you heard, and I'm sure a little bit before the break there, I spoke a little bit about your change-up this weekend with your game.
Yeah, we made a bit of a change. The live TV game was our original broadcast, and I don't do well with heights, and they wanted me to be on top of the press box. So we made a change to a game I won't have to travel as far to.
Exactly. And I always get a kick out of when you have a game there because I guess you can just say you leave the car not too far.
Right.
So speaking of which, you have 2 5-1 squads, both of which are surprising a lot of people in the Valley. I don't think there was really anyone other than I'm sure both coaches that expected them at this point to be 5-1 of the season, but they are playing extremely well. I think Poland is just playing lights out. Now, granted, they had a loss last week versus South Range, but it was South Range.
You know what? It's interesting because you look at this series, Matt, it's the 34th meeting all time coming up between these two teams on Friday. Niles has only won 4 of those first 33 meetings all time. They have not scored more than 7 points in any of the last 5 games.
Oh, wow. That is not too impressive. And, I'm sure that they were going to look to, take care of that unlucky streak there. The Dragons have really impressed me. I did not expect them to, again, be 5-1 at this point, but beat some of the teams that they've beaten. You obviously scouted this team. I remember you told me you were going to go check practice out yesterday. What should we expect when we see or hear about the Dragons Friday?
The biggest thing that I was questioning going into this year was, I knew this team would score points. Anthony Budak at quarterback, Antoine Gardner, a 4-year starter. They were going to put points up. My biggest question was, could they stop teams from putting up points? And they have played, incredible defense. They've given up, I want to say, 20 points total in their last 4 games. So the defensive side has been there for them. They found a pretty good kick game as well, which Niles is always known for having good field goal kickers. So they've kind of put it all together. If they're going to stop this streak against Poland, if they're going to beat Poland, it's going to be with this group that they have right now.
Yeah, I agree. They have, you and I actually went to see the Cardinal Mooney scrimmage at Niles. And, I was impressed with some of the linebacker play, some of the defensive back play, which, obviously against Poland, first and foremost, you're going to have to, stop the run. But, they can fling the ball around from what I have heard so far this season. So they have definitely impressed. Switching sides. Same question for you, Mark. What about the Poland Bulldogs?
You know what? Poland's interesting. I mean, you mentioned, they lost to South Range last week, 21-7. The biggest problem in that game was, they had 4 turnovers in that game against South Range. You can never do that against a South Range team. I don't care if it's, Dan Yeagley or Coach Rock that's taken the program over this year, or pretty much any opponent. You turn it over 4 times, you're asking to get beat. So, not turning the football over, still hitting some of those big pass plays. Like, I'll be curious, when it comes to the quarterback play, is he going to be tentative or is he going to push the ball down the field like we know Poland likes to do?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head talking about turnovers. I mean, two good teams playing each other, you turn it over once or you miss an extra point once. That could be the loser. But my God, how often do teams win? And we've seen it. I'm sure in your career you've seen it. I've seen it where teams have turned the ball over multiple times and eked out a win. But man, 90% of the time, you turn the ball over. I'd say even 95. You turn the ball over 4 times, you're losing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard because you're giving teams short fields to work with. Your momentum is definitely against you when you turn the ball over, especially, if they turn the ball over on the road. Bo Ryan Stadium is going to be packed. They're having a tailgate party in the parking lot starting at 5 before the game, and with the football moms and the frontliners. So that crowd's going to be fired up. If Poland wants to win that game, they're going to have to score early and really take the crowd out of it.
You bring up a good point. One of the things I've always been impressed with Niles fans, and my wife Stacy actually used to be the major ed advisor for Niles for years, and she actually was YSU's too. But one of the things that always blew me away through the years is when they've had good squads, and they should always be there even if they're hurting. But we know how it goes when you have your team is playing well, and you'll get more fans in the stands when they're doing well. But when they are playing well, like they are at the moment, Bo Ryan can be an intimidating place when they fill that home side. And that's a nice field. Cafaros have done a great job, giving monies for them to put that stadium together, that beautiful scoreboard. I was so impressed with that as well. So this is definitely, I would assume, going to be a huge game for the area in general. So I hope they really pack the stands. I can pretty much guarantee they will. Flipping the switch again, Mark, looking at other teams in the Tri-County area, the Valley, who jumps out at you right now, this week that, with obviously the games they've played, who really jumps out at you as some of the cream of the crop in the Valley?
Well, I mean, you have to start with Ursuline because there's so few teams that are undefeated at this point in the season. There's so few teams that have played the schedule that they have played. I mean, they go, they play Fitch. They beat Fitch convincingly. They're one of only 2 teams in the Valley that are in the AP poll this week. And they're the only one team that's actually in the top 10. And they sit at number 3. So it's one of those where, they've taken on all comers, and they're not just winning those games, they're winning games convincingly, which is really making a statement across the state that, it's another loaded Ursuline football team.
I 100% agree, and I'm not being a homer. Obviously, I played there, and my whole family went to school there. I talked to Coach Reardon coming up to this season, and he said one of the things that they are really utilizing, with their players, and they don't really have to do much, they said, because they have held on to that loss from Canfield from last year. Let's be honest. It's a double-sided coin. It's a two-edged sword, however you want to put it. You lose to a team in the playoffs that end up winning the state championship. It in one way, hey, we lost to the state champ, but on the other end, if we would have beat them, we would most likely be state champs. And I agree with that, but they have been holding on to that. They have been very upset about that. And he said, we have an angry football team. And, you always hear Ryan Day talk about he wants his Buckeyes to play angry. And that's how the Irish are playing. And they have, as you just said, they have not only been beating teams, they have been, really laying the wood. And, they started out with Steubenville, and they really beat them up. And as you said last week, they took care of Fitch convincingly, who, by the way, had just come off of 2 huge wins, one of which was beating St. Ignatius. So I agree with you. The Irish are playing lights out right now. What about some other teams that really draw your attention?
The interesting thing about it is I think we have some really good football teams that have scheduled up. And they may not have the shiny record when the playoffs begin, but I think they're going to be very good football teams. I think Springfield and Fitch jump out at me at 2 teams that are going to have a few losses because of the schedules they put together. When you look at Fitch, they're off this week,
coming off of playing Ursuline 2 weeks ago. All they have is Massillon coming up in 2 weeks. That's all. No big deal.
Right. And I agree with you. You have a group of teams that have been, not afraid of, as you just said, scheduling teams. I always start out when I pick teams in the area that are not afraid, obviously Ursuline, but the one I always start number one, it seems like as far back as I can remember, is the Harding Raiders, Warren. Coach Arnold is not afraid at all of scheduling, these teams. And, he has done a great job at that.
I know. Here's the thing about it too. They're 2-6, and they're sitting right there where if a couple things, they're 2-4 through 6 games. They've got Boardman this week, who's only won 1 game. So that potentially gives them another shot at a victory. They're a team that could be potentially below 500 and still make the playoffs in D2.
Yeah. And again, you have teams that are scheduling up, like you said, they're scheduling teams that are not afraid to play them. And when they play them, if they can make the playoffs, they're going to be battle tested and ready, and they'll be ready for the OHSAA playoffs. And then you have the flip side of the coin. Sometimes you have teams that, they don't have very strong teams on their schedule, and they might finish 9-1 or 10-0, but then they get to the playoffs, and because of having a weaker schedule, that hurts them.
Right. I mean, you may be able to, based on your matchup, potentially win a game or 2, but the goal is, depending on the program, I guess it's different. If you've never been to the playoffs before, or you've never won a playoff game, that's a giant stepping stone for your program. But if you're looking to, you win 5-6 games, make it to a state championship, it's all in how you prepare to get to that point.
I agree with you. And that is, just how it goes in football, especially in the Valley and the state of Ohio. You need to be battle tested before the playoffs, or you're going to be one of those teams, unfortunately, that, are going to be ending their one and done season, so to speak, really quick. Mark, what time is pregame for you on Friday and kickoff?
So pregame for us is 6:40. We'll be set up on the visitor side, so you'll hear the polling, the bipartisan polling crowd on our microphones. We'll go on the air at 7:00.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. That's Mark Means. By all means, catch a show Tuesday at 5. Mark, take care.
You got it, guy. Thank you.
Experience nature's bounty with Creation's Backyard. Elevate your health with the most nutrient-dense foods on earth. From farm to table, sustainably cultivated with care. Grown locally in Niles, Ohio with no chemicals or synthetics ever. Unlock your culinary creativity with Creation Backyard Microgreens. Convenient local delivery and pickup options available. Order now at creationsbackyard.com or call 330-282-7208.
Jesse's Dairy Cove is a hometown favorite, located at 3743 State Route 46, across from the gazebo in Mineral Ridge. Enjoy all of your favorite ice cream. We have over 32 hard scoop and over 40 soft serve favorites. We also have a large food menu, including homemade chili sauce, sloppy joes, pulled pork, fresh cut French fries, and mac and cheese. This fall, we'll start our homemade cookie and party trays. Visit our website at jessesdairycove.com to see our menu. At Jesse's Dairy Cove, we appreciate your business and wish good luck to the Rams.
If you love history, head over to YouTube and check out Blogging Through History. Hosted by Mineral Ridge High School graduate Chris Mowery, Blogging Through History visits historic sites to explore not only the well-known figures and events of the past, but also compelling stories that maybe you've never heard before. Chris would also like to wish his niece Amira Emsch and the Mineral Ridge Rams the best of luck for a successful 2023 season. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to CityView Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I'm your host, Matt Emsch, and we go from one part of the crew to another part. We have Coach Bob Gessler on the line. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Matt. Everything. I'm sitting on the back porch, enjoying a little bit of cool fall evening, a little overcast, but overall, no rain till tomorrow, so all is good.
All is good, and I appreciate you taking time out to be here with us. I feel bad. I completely dropped the ball and forgot to address that Notre Dame-Ohio State matchup with Mark Means. We will get back to that because, as I mentioned before when we started the show, he has an interesting situation with his wife being a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. So why don't we start off with that right there, Coach? What'd you think about the game?
Well, first of all, it was two outstanding football teams going at each other. I really thought Notre Dame may have had the edge. But, again, that happens. When you play in these big games, you get what you get. Very exciting. Disappointed in some of the fourth down tries. Should have gotten it. That's just how that goes. But the one thing I have to mention, when I was watching the game and it was that last two plays, on the goal line, as a coach, I'm looking at it going, they look like they're overloaded now. It would have been to Ohio State's right, defense left. And I'm going, there's no hanger. There's no hanger on the right-hand side. What is going on? What are they doing? They need to shift back. I didn't realize until afterwards they only had 10 guys. And unfortunately, I believe, and he barely got in. So if he would have had that 11th player playing on the edge, I think that would have been a whole different story. But, kudos to Ohio State. They got it done. Huge game. They both played their rear ends off. But as a Notre Dame fan, I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, and, as I said, when the show started, I'm a fan of both. You know that. But, when it came down to it, I was dressed in Notre Dame gear.
Yep.
I was, an Irish, really hoping for, them to win. I think it's been since 1937 since the Irish have beaten the Buckeyes. And, man, what an incredible just after party that would have started with watching everybody jump the field. But, what from what I had read that, Marcus Freeman, said he didn't know that they only had 10 men on the field, which obviously, and I agree with you, Coach, 101%. The way they were playing now, that one almost interception by the linebacker there, he almost had that would have put it, away, obviously. But, when the head coach does not know, when Ohio State substituted running backs, the fact that they didn't know that there was only 10 guys on there, let's be honest, at that level, you're supposed to have someone, if not multiple guys, counting how many players are on there. So I don't know how they dealt with it, how it's being dealt with, but I agree with you 101%. If they would have had 11 guys on the field, I truly am not being like, again, everybody knows you're listening. I'm a fan of both. I just don't think that Ohio State would have won that game with 11 on 11.
They would. I agree with you, Matt. They would. I believe they would stop them. But here's the problem with that: if, ands, and buts. Yeah. How do you hang a coach then? You got 1 second to go in the game, or 6 seconds on third down, and you're worried about this, and this. That one little thing, which is huge. Personnel, it blew it up. But again. Great job by both teams. I don't want to say the better team won, but on 2 downs, the better team won.
Yeah. I mean, you have a team like Ohio State, and you're playing against 10 with year 11.
Yeah.
99% of the time they're going to come out with a win. Switching to high school football,
Yes, sir.
you guys have a good matchup this week. Who do you guys got?
Okay, we have Western Reserve Blue Devils, and I may say that this is going to be a very, very interesting game. John Armini, back in the day, and as Craven would say, you've coached everybody in Youngstown. John played for me at Volney Junior High School. He's one of my linemen. He's a very, very smart player back in the day, and he makes an excellent coach. I point out, look what he did at LeBray. I mean, basically, he turned that program around. And so I really think it's going to take him time. But, I mean, after all, he's got one loss going into this game. Now, whether he can hang with Springfield, that's a different story. But
Right.
that's on the coaches all week to get them prepared.
I have been, obviously, with us calling, me and Matt Lipsack, calling all of the Mineral Ridge games, we all three crews, get from Dave Ferris, our wonderful engineer at Western Reserve. He gracefully, sends us updates on games, and we've been paying attention. We obviously all, mention what the scores of the other games. And I have really been impressed with, after those two losses with Springfield, how they have turned it on, and they have turned it on big time. I, along with Niles and Poland, did not expect to see the Blue Devils 5-1 right now. You just addressed, what's going on there, but flipping on this switch, what Friday should we be expecting offensively, defensively, and special teams wise from the Blue Devils?
Well, that's going to be tough. They're going to have to play all aspects of each, and I say it's a third of the game: special teams, defense, and offense. And Springfield Tigers have been hitting all gears on all three segments. I mean, every third of that game, they've really been hitting it, and they've scored on all three of them: defensively, special teams, and offense. So basically, Western Reserve cannot make a mistake. Now, I talk about scheduling, toughness of schedule. I believe that Western Reserve, they played Melbourne, which was a pretty good football team, and they got beat 26-7. Conneaut. Now, here's a team that is building over the years. Before you knew when you went up to Conneaut and you said, well, that's a win. Not no more. And they played them tough, and they beat Conneaut 28-24. But then you have Combliana, who's in a bit of a slide. They beat them. McDonald hasn't been doing well. Now, Lowville, again, they beat Lowville, but by a touchdown. I don't know anything about their last game with Everett, PA. They beat them 31-14. But in all honesty, I believe that they've been playing better football. But on the other hand, so have we. So, our games, Matthews and Waterloo, that was a little, those are kind of walk-ons. You see big scores on that, 70-0.
Oh, yeah.
56-0. But the surprise was last week. Jackson Milton going in there undefeated. And I really thought, reading the paper and looking at some of the stats, that they were going to throw all over them. It ends up that they get beat 35-10. Now, they hung with Springfield, but Springfield was just too tough in all aspects, and they just kept them pinned. They bent. They didn't break. And I'll tell you what, they did an outstanding job. So, with losing the South Range in the first game, we know South Range.
Uh-huh.
They've done it. They're just a good football team, and that's great, and that's good for them. Geneva, the other loss. Jim and I again, we're up at that game. Mistakes, Matt. I would tell you timeouts. They could have done a better job with that. I'm looking at it through the coach's eyes. But overall, they played them tough. And I'll tell you what, Geneva's a good football team. They've turned that program. They've always been good. They slacked a little bit last year or 2 years, but now they're picking it back up. They got a great football team, and Springfield and them battled it out till the end. So I think Springfield can do a great job against them. Only, and same way with Western Reserve, the person who makes the least mistakes will win the football game. It's easy stuff.
I agree. And, me and Matt Lipsack got to see both of those teams and Lowville. And also you had mentioned, I'm sorry, I need to go back here for Springfield, Jackson Milton. What happened, I'll just say real quick what happened with Mineral Ridge. I truly believe, again, not being a homer here because me and Matt call those games, they lost their starting quarterback with less than 2 minutes in the beginning of the game. Mineral Ridge is different when he's in there because then you get Ian Erb, who is incredible. You get to have him doing his thing instead of him focusing on quarterback. He's a good quarterback, but man, when you have all of your weapons available, they're a different team. And, last week, unfortunately, the Rams lost to Lowville. I'm going to tell you what, they have a really good passing game. So for Springfield, you guys took care of business, as you said, I believe, or was that Western Reserve that beat Lowville?
Western Reserve.
Right. So again, just impressive. Both teams. I think this is going to be a great game. The more and more I hear about Western Reserve, the more impressed I am. And that coaching staff up at Springfield Local. I mean, you guys know everything about them. They're phenomenal. One of the best. So that's going to be a great game. We have about a minute before the break here. Real quick, Bob, give me a couple teams in the area that you're just impressed with.
Oh, yeah. Ursuline's really getting after it, and they're doing an amazing job. I felt bad for Fitch, but unfortunately, the two area teams, what do you do? I think Fitch will be okay. I think Fitch is going to do fine. I think Springfield, if they keep rolling and do what they can do, I think they can go deep into the playoffs. So there's a lot of teams that are out there that I think are doing a great job. We talk about Niles. Niles is a big surprise. You didn't hear too much about Niles in the pregame, but or in the preseason, and they're silently winning games and doing what they got to do. The ones that I really am not impressed and I really thought would do well is McDonald. I really thought that they would shine a little bit, and I just I haven't seen a game yet or will. And I'm just I was kind of disappointed. I really thought that they'd have a run on it, but things happen.
They do. And, I agree with you. And, more than anything, I'm just impressed with those teams you mentioned. What time is pregame and kickoff with you guys?
I believe usually it's 6:35, and then we start the game 7:00 kickoff.
All right, Coach Bob Gessler, thank you for calling in. We greatly appreciate it. Good luck Friday. We'll be right back, everybody.
Thank you.
W&M Quality Roofing, LLC is an insured and bonded Mahoning Valley family-owned roofing business. At W&M, we treat your roof and home as if it's our very own. Give us a call at 330-647-0610 for a free estimate. Did you get damage from the latest storm? We also offer financing and specialists for insurance claims. For professional and efficient service, call W&M Quality Roofing at 330-647-0610.
S&K, painting your house today. S&K, painting your house
S&K Painting provides exceptional painting and refinishing services to the Mahoning Valley and surrounding communities by being an industry leader in our field, focusing on customer service and delivering extraordinary results. We offer interior and exterior painting, and we specialize in cabinet refinishing with affordable cabinet solution. Call S&K Painting for your free estimate at 330-505-1910.
S&K, painting your house today.
With over 30 years of experience, Madurix Butcher Block in Mineral Ridge is a quality-driven company focused on great personal service. Our fresh meats are of the finest cut. We make a variety of burgers, sausages, and a full line of deli meats. Using our own smokehouse, we prepare different types of jerky, snack sticks, kibasi, bacon, hot dogs, and bone-in hams. When your tummy needs some relief, call 652-BEEF. That's 330-652-2333. From high school to the pros and everything in between, you're listening to CityView Sportscast, part of the iMedia One network.
And welcome back to Just Football. I am your host, Matt Emsch. We are at the last 15 minutes exactly, and we have my partner on the phone, Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, and my partner. How you doing?
Doing well, Matt. How about yourself this evening?
I'm doing really well. I greatly appreciate you checking in with us and giving us a few minutes of your time. I know that you are busy with those two beautiful little kids of yours.
Yeah, actually, we just had our first poopy on the potty, so there was much ado over here at the Lipsack house.
Hooray! That's a huge event. Anybody that has kids know, and I just gave you a little applause. So congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, sir. You know, little girl Alexis is a big girl now, 18 months. We're
well, I get to see pictures of both the kids every week, and they are beautiful kids, and they have quite the personalities in these pictures. So you guys are blessed. Moving into football, I want to again, Mark, I'm sorry, buddy. I of all three of you guys, I really wanted to address his household with Notre Dame, Ohio State, but that's where you and I are going to start. Actually, I know you're a Buckeye fan, and what was your take on that game, especially the way it ended?
Well, I guess point of order. I am not a Buckeye.
Oh,
fan.
Okay.
So I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. We grew up rooting for the Nittany Lions.
That's right. You told me that. I apologize.
My wife is a Spartan. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. You definitely have a different thing going under your roof.
Yeah, the Scarlet and the Maize, they are not welcome inside the Lipsack household.
I can understand that. And you know what, growing up, I was actually, I always liked the Penn State Nittany Lions. We never had any problem with them for the most part. Again, me growing up, the majority of my memory of college football with the Buckeyes was John Cooper, which I already had addressed. We were not fans in my household of him, and not many Buckeye fans were. Not being able to take care of that other team up north. I think one time in his career he beat them, but we won't bring that up. Looking at that game, obviously I was there. It was as I've put numerous times, an instant classic. It was an incredible game to see. It was incredible being in that stadium for everything. But looking at the way the game ended with Notre Dame dropping the ball, again, no pun intended, having 10 guys the last two plays of the game, which cost them the game. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I guess it comes down to coaching, right?
Right.
That is one of the jobs, not only for starters, you got people upstairs. Somebody's got to have a head count. So it starts with the coaches, but, also usually you'll have somebody in the defensive backfield, stand there before every play and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Right.
And, and I'm trying to remember the situation. I don't believe Notre Dame had a timeout.
No.
So they could not have called a timeout if somebody had noticed.
Correct.
But I guess still somebody's gotta notice.
Yeah. I again 101% agree with you. Obviously, Coach Freeman is doing a bang up job with the Irish. They're not going to fire him, but somebody has to answer for that, in my opinion. And I agree with you both, Matt. Not only do you have not only one coach, you should have multiple coaches that would would be noticing, hey, we only got 10 guys in there. And at the very least, second to the last play, okay, we had 10 guys in there and they got, right down to the, I forget, it was like the 1 or the 2, 3, I forget. I think it was the 1 maybe. And, get that one extra guy in there, but they didn't after 2 plays. And that was just unbelievably unacceptable. And, I mean, it's a fireable offense in my opinion. I don't know who did that. And, I'm just going to leave it at that. It was an incredible game, huge mistake. It cost them. I think the Irish are an excellent football team. I think that they are going to make a lot of noise. We'll find out more about Notre Dame in a couple weeks when they play, I think 2 or 3 weeks when they play Southern Cal, who is number 8, I believe, in the country, and they are for real. So that's a huge rivalry. We'll get to see if they're for real. But flipping the switch, going over to high school, you and I have a game this Friday, homecoming at Mineral Ridge.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ridge Rams are going to be hosting the Matthews Mustangs, who got their first win of the season this past week against Ashtabula St. John. And, Brian Shaner was very complimentary of the Mustangs. He, really he saw the hustle that they are putting out there on the field. And, 1-5, he thinks that maybe the effort they're putting in isn't, the record isn't indicative of the effort that he's seeing on film.
I see. Okay. Well, you and I obviously have a front row seat. We have, the last X amount of weeks, which, I heard you yesterday. Great job with Mark Means on By All Means, by the way. I heard you talking about, just in general football and issues that have worried you and I through the weeks. You made quick comments about it, but you and I have been watching and also, as you mentioned, here we are, game 7, fast as heck.
Yeah.
Unbelievable that we got here. My old partner, Tim Continenza, used to always say fastest 10 weeks in sports. And he wasn't joking. And, you just have looked at me and said, I can't believe how fast it's going. But, they've only lost 2 games. You and I, coming up to that matchup last week, obviously we've seen every game. We had some concerns. So those concerns, I said this numerous times on the while we were calling the game. My hat was off to the coaching staff of Lowellville. They did a great job scouting them. Obviously, they had the films, especially of Jackson Milton, and they saw where those weaknesses were, and they they addressed them, and that's exactly where they hurt them. They're going to obviously not have a team like Lowellville or Jackson Milton this week, but I think that they're going to play a lot harder than their record shows. And as you just said, and we'll hear your interview with Coach Shaner on Friday, he has respect for them. So hopefully they can, with this matchup, address some of those problems and move on, because as you and I have also mentioned, the meat of that schedule is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. You could maybe kind of look at this as a get right game for Mineral. Try to fix some of those things. Now, Lowellville has a different class of athlete. Michael Ballone has to be, top 5, top 10 quarterback in the Mahoning Valley.
I agree.
So not every team can trot somebody onto the field and throw for 265 and 4 touchdowns. But at the same time, these are things that we have seen Mineral Ridge struggle with throughout the season. The long down and distance, when you're thinking, okay, we should be able to get an easy stop here and get off the field. But we have seen, Pymatuning Valley from their own 2 convert a 3rd and 18 and pick up 21 yards. We've seen Waterloo with a 4th and 12 on their 29, throw a touchdown pass. I guess on the Ridge 29, not their own 29, but still, those long down and distances, the weighty downs, as Coach Tomlin calls them. Just we have seen the Ridge defense struggle to get off the field, and again, this can be looked at as a get right game, but you've got Springfield in 2 weeks. You have Western Reserve the week after that. You have McDonald the week after that. So you cannot afford to look past Matthews in their 1-5 record, because you have to get your team right to get to the next 3 games. There are 4 weeks left in the season. You are sitting 8th in the region in as far as computer points go, with the potential for a home playoff game. And, we got to get right.
I 100% agree with you. You said it perfectly. And, Matthews is going to go into this game looking to have a winning streak. They are going to have, the Rams are going to have a huge target paid on them this week. What better way to win game 2, but not only to beat a good team, but to beat them on homecoming. Let's be honest, if I was the coaches at Matthews, I would, as many coaches always, utilize this corkboard material, quote unquote. They made us their homecoming game, guys. They expect to win this game. What better way to hurt them in the playoffs, and just their schedule, and us to better ourselves by to beat them at homecoming.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach Shaner, one of the questions during the interview that I posted was, how do you keep the boys focused? And he says, well, the kids that are focused are going to be the kids that play. And if you're not focused, you're not going to play. So that, speaks for itself, really. Coach Shaner is he understands that, homecoming is a thing, but he has a football game to win. And these wins are important, whether you're playing somebody that's 1-5 or 5-1. Right now, Ridge has lost 2 of their last 3, and they need to stack some W's here as we roll our way toward week 11.
I agree. And, everybody, same as always, 6:45 p.m. for pregame with me and Matt on CityView Sportscast. You can find that at Western Reserve Radio. Will be the 3rd game. And then 7 p.m. kickoff. Matt, what can you tell us a little bit in our last 2 minutes about the Youngstown Phantoms?
So the Phantoms have their home opener this weekend, Saturday the 30th. Puck drops at 7:05. We're doing $5 tickets and $2 pints for this game, because the fans are going to be raising their championship banner from last fantastic playoff run. And get to your seats early if you're going to come to the game, because I think that banner is going up about 15 minutes before puck drop. You can call the fans box office for tickets or more information. 330-747-PUCK. That's 330-747-7825. There's going to be tailgating. We're going to have some food trucks at the Cavelli Center starting at about 3 o'clock. I heard there's going to be a bouncy house, probably cornhole. I imagine there will be some ball hockey going on out in the lots. Probably, get to, see the guys a little bit before the game. And then, of course, like I said, $5 tickets, $2 beers, get to see the championship banner going up. It should be a great night for hockey on Saturday. Go to your high school football games on Friday, but then absolutely get down to the Cavelli Center on Saturday and support the boys.
Who did you say they're playing again? I'm sorry.
Team USA.
That's right. That will be very interesting, and good luck to them. And Matthew, I want to thank you for being here, taking time out of your schedule with those 2 Rugrats there. They're awesome. And I will see you Friday, sir.
Sounds great, Matt. You take care of yourself, and go Rams, go Phantoms.
Yes, sir. Go Rams, go Phantoms. That was Matt Lipsack, the other half of my team, the Matt Show. Again,
it may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. Feedthepig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.